There's a hidden truth that most people are too afraid to face, too distracted to hear, or too conditioned to feel. The truth is, you are not just light, and you are not just light, and you are not just darkness, you are the sacred bridge between both. You are the battleground and the sanctuary. The angel and the demon don't just exist in myths, religions, or ancient texts. They are archetypes vibrating within your field, frequencies embedded in your DNA, and energies that constantly shape how you show up in this world. If you've ever wondered why you can access divine peace one moment and then feel consumed by shadow the next, this is not a flaw, it's a signal. You are balancing angelic and demonic vibrations, and that makes you part of a rare spiritual breed, those who are here to transmute, not just transcend. We've been taught to fear the demonic and worship the angelic, but in reality, both are misunderstood forces of transformation. Angels are not just glowing beings of light floating above us. They are frequencies of clarity, truth, love, and divine order. Demons, on the other hand, are not evil monsters hiding under your bed. They are frequencies of suppressed power, unintegrated wounds, primal force, and chaos. And when these two frequencies merge and are held in consciousness, you become something few people dare to become: whole, not perfect, not pure, but real. And that reality is where your true spiritual power lives. The first sign that you're balancing angelic and demonic vibrations is the intensity of your inner world. You don't just feel, you feel hard. Your highs are celestial, your lows are abyssal, but you aren't numb, you're awake. And that emotional spectrum isn't dysfunction, it's capacity. You're holding polarities that most people spend their lives running from. You can cry in reverence and laugh in chaos. You can sense the sacred in suffering and the shadow in ecstasy. This emotional depth is not a burden. It's a frequency map. The angelic energy opens your heart. The demonic energy deepens your root. Together, they make you unshakable. The second sign is your spiritual hunger. You're not satisfied with surface-level teachings. You crave the raw, the real, the forbidden. You read sacred texts and occult grimoires. You meditate and scream into pillows. You seek light not as an escape but as a tool, and you dive into darkness not as rebellion but as revelation. Most people pick a side. You've chosen integration. That makes you dangerous to illusions and magnetic to truth. You don't want to look enlightened. You want to become truth, even if it means walking through hell to get there. You've probably noticed the third sign, and it's this: your presence shifts things. People either feel healed or exposed in your energy. You've been called both a savior and a destroyer, and the truth is, you're both. The angel in you uplifts. The demon in you confronts. Your aura is a frequency disruptor. You don't even have to speak. People feel your essence. Some are drawn to it like moths to flame. Others recoil, not because you're wrong, but because you reflect the parts of them they're not ready to meet. This is not a curse. It's your function. You're not here to make people comfortable. You're here to make them conscious. Let me ask you something only you can answer. What would happen if you stopped trying to purify yourself and started embodying your full spectrum? The fourth sign is your relationship with power. You've likely struggled with it, feared it, abused it, lost it, gained it again. But one thing remains: you are not neutral to power. You feel its presence in the room. You sense when someone is leaking it or hoarding it. And deep down you know you were born to wield it, not from ego, but from essence. Angelic vibration teaches you how to use power with compassion. Demonic vibration teaches you how to claim it without apology. Together they initiate you into sovereignty, and that's rare, because most people either submit or dominate. You're here to embody divine authority. The fifth sign is your dreams and visions. They're not always soft or beautiful. Sometimes they're violent, cryptic, erotic, or terrifying, but they always feel alive. You've seen angels made of fire and demons made of light. You've heard voices that didn't comfort you but challenged you. and you had moments of silence so deafening they changed your entire trajectory. These aren't hallucinations. They are transmissions. You are a broadcasting tower for both realms, and the more you accept that, the more your visions will evolve from confusion into clarity. The sixth sign is your ability to destroy and rebuild again and again. You've burned bridges, lost everything, watched your identity collapse, and still you rise. Every time, stronger, clearer, more you. This is not accidental, it's alchemy. The angel in you brings resurrection. The demon in you brings death. And both are part of the same sacred cycle. Most people fear endings. You've learned to trust them. It's because every time something breaks in your life, something ancient wakes up in your soul. And the seventh sign, the one that seals it all, is your truth. You speak it even when your voice trembles. You live it even when it costs you everything. Your truth doesn't fit in a meme or a mantra. It's multidimensional. It's messy. It's holy. It offends the fake and liberates the real. Your truth is the evidence that you've survived the war between angelic ideals and demonic instincts and made peace. Not by choosing one over the other, but by becoming the bridge between both. You are not broken. You are balancing. You are not confused. You are converging. And the more you embrace this sacred tension, the more you become what this world desperately needs but rarely understands: a living embodiment of integrated power.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
There's something almost mythic about the moment you realize you're not meant to pick a side, you're meant to hold both. To walk the razor's edge between creation and destruction, love and wrath, silence and noise. This is the sacred tension, and it's not for the faint of heart. Most people are drawn to extremes because extremes feel safe. Light is praised, darkness is feared. Order is respected, chaos is exiled. But you were never meant to be safe. You were meant to be whole, and wholeness requires you to become fluent in both languages: the still, surgical precision of divine order and the wild, untamed roar of primal chaos. When you begin to harness both angelic and demonic vibrations, you're not just accessing energy, you're activating archetypes that exist deep in the collective unconscious. You become a channel for ancient forces that existed long before you were born and will exist long after you're gone. Angelic frequency is like a tuning fork for harmony. It brings structure, discipline, serenity, clarity. It guides you to act with love, to serve with intention, to rise above the noise. But demonic frequency, that's the fire. It's rooted in the primal. It doesn't care about being liked, understood, or accepted. It wants truth, raw truth. It demands authenticity. It tears down illusions with no apology. When you try to live only in the angelic, you become too soft, too passive, sometimes even disconnected. When you dwell only in the demonic, you become volatile, self-destructive, or consumed by ego. But when you balance the two, when you learn to dance between them, you become something else, something unshakable. You become the storm and the eye, the sword and the healer, the presence that calms the room and the force that shatters the lies within it. You've probably felt this tension inside of you, the part of you that wants peace and the part of you that wants war, the part of you that wants to meditate in the stillness of the mountains, and the part that wants to scream in the middle of the night because the world is asleep and you're too awake. This is not confusion. This is capacity. You are a vessel big enough to hold both heaven and hell. And the more you trust that, the less you will fear being misunderstood. Because you're not here to be understood, you're here to transmit. Let me ask you something that few ever think to confront. What if the chaos in your life isn't a distraction but a divine initiation? What if the very disruptions you try to escape are actually the invitation to become the version of yourself that can finally hold the frequency you were born to embody? The key is not to suppress either side, but to discern when each is needed. There are moments when the angel in you must lead with grace, with patience, with light. And there are moments when the demon must rise, not to destroy out of rage, but to dismantle what no longer serves. Your rage can be sacred. Your boundaries can be brutal and holy. Your silence can be louder than any sermon. This is not spiritual confusion. This is spiritual maturity. You learn to use angelic energy to create rituals, to build frameworks, to heal. And you learn to use demonic energy to cut cords, to break spells, to destroy illusions. One hand blesses, the other breaks, and both are divine, but only if you use them consciously. This is how you hold the sacred tension without losing yourself. You stop trying to be one thing. You stop trying to fit into someone's idea of what light should look like. You stop apologizing for your edge, your depth, your fire, and instead you anchor into your essence. You become the eye of your own storm. You watch as others try to label you, decode you, project onto you, and you smile. Because you know something they don't. You are not here to be decoded. You are here to disrupt and elevate. And yes, sometimes you'll feel like you're too much. Sometimes you'll feel like your fire is too wild, your love too intense, your silence too unsettling. But that's exactly why you were chosen to carry both light and shadow. Because the world doesn't just need soft light, it needs fierce clarity. It doesn't just need healing, it needs awakening. And that awakening often comes through the exact energy most people have been taught to fear. So you walk the path with both wings spread feathers of gold in one, flames in the other. You are not confused. You are complete. You are not lost. You are layered. And the more you embrace that, the more you become the living embodiment of the wisdom this world has forgotten. That true divinity is not found in purity, but in integration. There comes a moment on the spiritual path when you realize that being balanced between angelic and demonic vibrations doesn't mean you're divided, it means you've become a sacred hybrid. A being who can walk in two worlds, speak two languages, and hold two truths without collapsing into either. You are not just a mystic. You are not just a warrior. You are not just a healer or a destroyer. You are all of it. You are the shadow that walks with light, the silence that roars, the stillness that strikes. And to live like this in a world built on binaries, on black and white, on good versus evil, it takes more than strength. It takes presence, it takes discipline, and it takes an unshakable commitment to your essence. We live in a world that constantly tries to make us choose. Are you kind or are you powerful? Are you spiritual or are you fierce? Are you a lover or a fighter? But the hybrid doesn't choose. The hybrid embodies. The hybrid knows that the monk and the warrior are not opposites, they are expressions of the same soul at different frequencies. The monk sits still to remember. The warrior moves forward to protect. The monk prays in silence. The warrior prays in action. And when you become both, your life is no longer dictated by external expectations. It becomes a living transmission of integrated frequency. To live as a sacred hybrid, you must first stop asking for permission to be all of who you are. You must stop waiting for the world to understand your complexity and begin honoring it yourself. You must stop apologizing for the parts that don't fit into other people's spiritual boxes. You are not here to be digestible. You are here to be disruptive. The warrior monk doesn't seek the center because it's neutral. They seek the center because it's anchored. They don't fight to dominate. They fight to protect the sacred. They don't meditate to escape the world. They meditate to hear what the world is too loud to reveal. This is what it means to live as a sacred hybrid. You are constantly translating between realms. You can speak love into a wound and speak fire into a lie. You can hold someone in their grief and still call them out of their illusions. You're not afraid to be soft, but you're also not afraid to be sharp. And that makes most people uncomfortable because you don't play by the rules of spiritual performance. You don't just wear white and chant mantras. You walk barefoot through your own inner hell and come back with keys. You've learned to bless with your hands and cut cords with your eyes. Let me ask you something few dare to consider. What if your contradictions are not flaws but instructions? What if the parts of you that clash are actually coordinates for your true essence? What if your ability to love deeply and rage fiercely is not a sign of instability but a sign of sacred range? Living as a hybrid means you will often feel like you're walking through a world that doesn't have a place for you. And that's because you were never meant to fit. You were meant to lead, not in the traditional sense, not with followers or platforms, but with presence, with truth, with the kind of alignment that makes people pause not because you're loud, but because you're undeniable. Your life becomes a frequency that others don't understand but can't ignore. But don't be fooled, this path is not glamorous. It's not always peaceful. It's not about enlightenment in the way it's sold in books and retreats. It's about embodiment. It's about being so rooted in who you are that you can walk through fire and not flinch. You can sit in chaos and not absorb it. You can be surrounded by noise and still hear the inner drum. The warrior monk doesn't need the world to be quiet to find peace. They carry peace into the noise. They don't need the world to be safe to feel powerful. They become the safety. In a world that teaches us to separate light from shadow, divine from human, sacred from sexual, you are a bridge. You are proof that it's not only possible to hold both, but that the holding is the medicine. You don't need to kill your ego. You need to integrate it. You don't need to transcend your rage. You need to alchemize it. You don't need to silence your demons. You need to listen to their wisdom and choose how they move through you. This is the revolution. Not one of noise, but of frequency. Not one of rebellion, but of resonance. And you, whether you've realized it or not, are already leading it. Every time you choose to hold both grace and grit, every time you choose presence over performance, every time you walk into a space and refuse to shrink, you are the warrior monk. And the world is watching not because you're trying to be seen, but because truth always shines without needing a spotlight. You were not born into this world by accident. You didn't stumble into your intensity, your contradictions, your sacred chaos. You were chosen, not just in some vague spiritual sense, but in a deeply personal, cosmic assignment kind of way. Your very existence is a signal broadcasting across dimensions that someone has arrived who can hold the unbearable tension of opposites and not break. Someone who can walk with angels and still speak the language of shadows. Someone who can embody what few can even comprehend, divine duality. And here's the truth that most spiritual teachings avoid because it's too raw, too untamed. Your duality is not something to fix. It's not a glitch in your design. It is your design. You were built with this capacity on purpose. You are given access to both the highest frequencies of light and the deepest wells of darkness because your mission requires that range. Not everyone was made to hold this. That's why many collapse under the weight of their own extremes. But not you. You've been forged in the fire and kissed by the wind. You've been broken open by both trauma and ecstasy. And still, you rise not as one or the other, but as both. Your path has been filled with contrast because you are meant to bridge the gap. You've had to feel everything to the core. The betrayal, the abandonment, the joy, the divine ecstasy, because one day someone will look into your eyes and recognize their own pain, their own divinity, their own forgotten fire. And in that moment, your presence becomes a portal. Not because you saved them, but because you chose to embody your own truth so fully that it gave them permission to do the same. Can you feel it now? That everything you've been through wasn't random, it was ritual. Every heartbreak was a holy cracking open. Every loss was a sacred initiation. Every time you were brought to your knees, it wasn't to punish you. It was to position you, to anchor you so deeply in yourself that no illusion could ever uproot you again. You are not just here to talk about healing. You are here to be it, to walk into rooms and shift the frequency without opening your mouth. You are here to transmit truth that doesn't need to be explained, only felt. Let me ask you something deeper than what you usually allow yourself to confront. What if your entire life has been making you into a vessel so expansive, so vibrationally rich, that you could carry the codes of transformation just by breathing? What if your mission isn't to become something else but to finally own what you've always been? You see, the reason you feel pulled in different directions is because your soul was designed to live at the intersection. You're not meant to pick a side, you're meant to merge them. You are the place where heaven kisses hell. You are the altar built from both ash and starlight. And the moment you stop resisting your own complexity, the moment you stop trying to simplify your essence for the comfort of others, is the moment your true mission begins. Because this world is crying out for integration. It's drowning in polarity, in division, in oversimplified ideas of good and evil, right and wrong, spiritual and secular. But you are the antidote. Not because you have all the answers, but because you're willing to live inside the questions. You're willing to hold the paradox and still move forward. And that's what makes you sacred. You were chosen because you can't be controlled. You can't be reduced. You can't be explained away. You're not here to fit into anyone's idea of light. You're here to become the light that includes the dark. And that is the rarest kind of power. So honor your fire. Honor your softness. Honor the part of you that wants to meditate in silence, and the part of you that wants to scream a revolution. Neither is wrong. Both are holy. This is your duality. This is your power. This is your mission. And now it's your time.